Greetings, Batavia Mayor Jeff Schielke speaking to you on Friday, September 3rd, 2021. And we have started to switch over from summer into the fall stretch of life. And it looks like the fall is going to be a very exciting time in Batavia. Probably starting with the Batavia High School football team, which won its first game last week over Phillips Academy. And I'm hopefully going to have a really good season again, and they have a big fan base. And as I've heard, they have a bigger fan base of people who like to watch them on TV with Mr. Lundberg and Mr. Wolf as the commentators. And unfortunately, last week at the first game, there was some technical issue, and they weren't able to broadcast the game. And I think most people in town of any authority heard about that, but as the mayor, I certainly had my ears bent by some folks that really look forward to the highly talented announcements made by Mr. Wolf and Mr. Lundberg, and were very deeply disturbed that they didn't get to watch that game. So hopefully those involved will get this technicality issue resolved, and we'll be broadcasting the Bulldogs on BATV here hopefully this weekend and going forth. But we wish Coach Piron and the whole team a great year of success, because certainly if you go by the high school field out there, you see them out there practicing, it seems like all year long. And so they're a real dedicated set of fans, and we just want to do all we can to cheer that movement on. Secondly, I'm wearing my mask, although I pulled it down so that it didn't mum my words as I'm giving this. But I try to wear my mask most of the day now because the governor has asked us to do this. This is strictly a voluntary thing. I think the thing I'm most dismayed about it is there's no law underneath it by the state of Illinois. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. And I wish the state legislature had put some teeth under this so that they could, if in fact we needed to do it, we could do it. But that's not the case. But I'd ask everybody to consider seriously wearing a mask, because we have noted in Kane County an uptick in our numbers of people who are inflicted with the corona disease. And I know a number of people who have gone in the last few days and got themselves tested, and fortunately in most instances some really nice people in town, when they got tested, did not have it. They just thought maybe there were some symptoms, but it didn't work out. So if you feel anything that feels like you think you may be getting it, please go get yourself tested right away. And we want to keep Batavia's numbers down as low as they have been, because since this whole thing started, we've had one of the lower numbers in the western suburbs for corona victims in our town. So those are the kind of the big news moments of the day that I wanted to make sure I shared with you. Secondly, I'd like to let you all know that this weekend promises to be an interesting time in Batavia. The Batavia Vikings Lodge is going to host their third event of the year, of their annual herring breakfast, and that's going to be down at the Batavia VFW starting about 8 in the morning on Monday. And I believe the cost is $10 a person. It could be a little bit more, I don't know that for sure. But if you're an old Scandinavian ancestry like I am, you do have some passion for herring, and they also serve bacon and eggs, and it's a very good time, and you get to see a lot of specifically the old Scandinavian folks in Batavia and many of their descendants. So if you're not doing anything and want a good breakfast on Monday morning, I'd encourage you to get down and have it at the VFW. This is that under the auspices of Batavia Main Street, and I guess with the help of the Batavia Chamber of Commerce and the business community, we're going to come and have an end of summer celebration starting Sunday, September 5th at the Batavia Block Party and Taste of Batavia. And both of those are events that previously have been held, and they were postponed last year because of the pandemic, and we're hopefully returning those. And these are family events which feature a family zone, a pie bake-off, a classic car show, live music, and they're going to have a $3 cost for restaurant tastings from your favorite Batavia restaurants will be set up. And so if you're not doing anything on Sunday, this would be a fun time to come. I tell you, the late afternoon and early evening are probably the high points of it. The classic car show, I think, will be over, as I understand it, on Houston Street from Island Avenue up to Water, maybe even a little beyond, but they'll have that all blocked off so people can walk around and see some of the really neat collector cars that we have in Batavia and the greater area. And we really do have some folks that are highly vested in that activity, so that should prove to be good. So another thing that we are going to be doing here in the next few weeks, we're going to have some discussions, public discussions involving the city, the park district, and the general community on where people think we should go with the Batavia Dam. And we're going to have a virtual meeting on Wednesday, September 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. in which some of those involved in the engineering and the ideas of it are going to be put on some presentations about the dam and some of the ideas and some of the rebuild ideas. And then following that, there's going to be a community engagement open house, and that's going to be held at the Peg Bond Center on Saturday, September 25th from 9 a.m. till 10:30. And that one, I guess we're going to encourage public comments and sharing of what everybody's opinions are. This is a fairly costly thing, I'm led to believe, before it's all over with. And I don't know if this is going to require some type of a referendum or what we're going to do. As I've told people before, I'm certainly of the opinion that I want to save the Depot Pond in whatever means it's necessary, because I think that is a valuable resource to the downtown and to the Batavia community, and it was kind of a I would describe it as an accidental gift of the past that got dug out and built, so we had two channels of the river for many years running through downtown Batavia. Now it's become kind of a great park area for thousands of people, literally walk by it, ride their bicycle by it, stop and sit there. We have high school class reunions, we have high school graduation night, we have lots of people show up and have their picture taken with the pond in the background. Number of 50th anniversary pictures are taken there of people's wedding anniversaries. Number of birthday parties are hosted there. So in the Peg Bond Center, and the truest wishes of Peg Bond is continuously always busy. So I'm feeling very good that we want to keep that going. Now I know some other people have some other ideas for changing it over, but I certainly am not of opinion that I want to go in any of those directions. So that's where I stand on the thing. So we've got a lot of things to talk about in the community ahead, and I just think that as we look about our downtown, we really do have some true blessings in our community that we should be very, very appreciative of. And speaking of blessings in our downtown, I had the experience a couple weeks ago. I went on a trip to northwestern Illinois, and I was out on Route 20, just a few miles past Freeport. And I took a minor diversion for a few minutes and went up to the city of Lena, Illinois, Lena. It's kind of just northwest of Freeport. And up in Lena, they have a city water tower, which has now been judged and placed on the National Registry of Historic Places. And the interesting part about it is, this is a picture I took the other day of the Lena water tower. But the interesting thing about the Lena water tower is that it was built in 1896 by Batavia workmen who, I believe, took the train from Elgin out there on Monday morning and stayed the whole week for a number of weeks and built this water tower. And they all were employees of the U.S. Wind Engine and Pump Company, which was the windmill factory and water tower factory that was over now where Walgreens is, and Riverside Pizza in that general area on both sides of First Street. That's the old U.S. Wind Engine and Pump Company property. And so this is where it was built there, and they've just recently decommissioned it and have built a new modern water tower for themselves, but they have this now on public display, and they have this very nice sign right outside of it that tells its history, including the fact that they tried to build it themselves, and the first version of it fell down. So it was rebuilt in the spring of 1896 by the U.S. Wind Engine and Pump Company of Batavia, Illinois, and has been in continuous use ever since. And it just recently was decommissioned. And in February 20th of 1997, it was placed by the National Park Service on the National Registry of Historic Places. So if you go there, Batavia's name is brightly shown on signs and that all around it. So if you're taking a drive someday and want to go see something that has a hometown connection, take a ride out to Lena. I would tell you it's about an hour and a half ride from Batavia. out there, and I think you'd find it interesting to see that. A couple quick things I just want to touch on before we adjourn. Now that we're into the fall season, pretty quickly hereafter is going to start to be the discussions about the holidays. And I was very heartened this past week to be contacted by Melinda Kintz, who was previously the executive director of the Batavia United Way, and she's been very involved in this Batavia Christmas dinner program that they've started, where we find families who live in Batavia, and that's the biggest requirement. You got to live in Batavia, and you tell us what you want to have for Christmas dinner, and we try to give you food supplies that then you make yourself that allow you to have that type of a dinner. And they did it last year, and I was over and watched all the people show up to pick up their packages, and there was a number of very happy faces. So Melinda's telling me that Batavia's hoping to do that this year. We've got a few glitches in the way of where we're going to do it at and stuff like that, but I'm confident we'll be able to overcome that. So if you have some generous feelings about yourself, certainly one of the things that you can do is probably, when it gets announced, write them a check or send them some food or whatever they want, but that's going to come again this year, so I'm pleased to announce that. Then the other thing is I'll call it the Access Toy Drive, which is for a number of years now been run by the Roy Bailey and Rudy Dubas families, and they do a wondrous job with that. Last year, I believe we gave toys to over 700 kids in Batavia that probably wouldn't have had much of a Christmas without it, and we're going to get ready to put that together again. We've already started collecting toys. We're storing them over at the old Hubbard store, thanks to the generous permission of the United Methodist Church, who owns that property now, is letting us store the toys in there, and they're also letting us use it as a fire department drill site. So the Methodists eventually plan to tear the building down, but we will probably be using it for those issues this year. So again, if you're of a generous mind, the toy drive will probably be looking for some support here in the next few days. I guess I want to end today by, I'm feeling very good this week about things I'm seeing happening in Batavia. And I'm also of the opinion, as I've said several times recently on this thing, that this is a town with a big heart. And if Batavia has something that we all should be proud and pleased about, it's the generous spirit and the willingness to step forward and help those who have just suffered some calamity in their life, or a death, or some tragedy has occurred. I see here numerous times of many people stepping forward and doing some nice gesture, a nice deed, and never asking for any recognition, don't want any, just want to have a kind effort on their part. And many times I go back and I pull up this trinket that was given to me by a friend, showing the city of Batavia, its name over the state of Illinois, which is painted in red, white, and blue, but it's in the form of a heart. And I think this so well speaks to what the true meaning of Batavia is today, because in this past week I've heard of people doing a lot of nice things where they've stepped forward and gone to the grocery store and paid the bill of somebody ahead of them that looked like they were having a hard time, or their credit card wouldn't go through or whatever. And a number of times when people have heard about somebody that needed to go to the doctor, so when it got time to go to the doctor, they went out and helped them get in the car, and then when they came back, they helped them get out of the car and back into their house. And there's a lot of this, just those types of things going on in our town every day. So I think a proud boast that Batavia can be is we are a community with a big heart, and how proud as a community we should all be for the generous spirit and the care for others that we seem to continuously emulate in Batavia. And so we've got some very, very special people in this town who do really nice things, and they project what this heart is all about on this trinket that I have here, where we talk about how Batavia can help each other, and there just seems to be a constant ongoing thing of us wanting to do it. And let me just finish by saying that I know we're going to be doing some, I'll talk about this next week, but we're going to be doing some special programs the weekend after next to mark the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 disaster. And Batavia, certainly like every other town in the United States, took that pretty hard, but we've done some nice tributes to that whole thing since it occurred, and apparently this coming week, the VFW is gonna do some stuff, the fire department's gonna do some stuff. I'll have more about that next week when we report to you then. So, hope you have a great week. This has been a good one for me, and I will look forward to hopefully having more good weeks for Batavia in the days ahead. Have a great time. Thank you. Bye-bye.